Hello, fellow marketers. I'm Brian Bowie, and welcome to another episode of Directive R&D. Today, I'm joined by a special guest, Max Serrato, who's an associate director of paid media at Directive. Max, welcome back to the lab.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's good to be back in the lab.
Nice. Can't wait to talk about something that you created for us today. It's a paid search maximum spend calculation tool. So we get this question all the time from our clients, like that want to scale, that see good results in paid search campaigns within Google, and they want to know what it would cost to maximize the spend within those paid search campaigns. And it's always just good to know, like, how many more leads would you see with consistent conversion rates, or even if cost per clicks go up a little bit, what does that result in? So I'm gonna share my screen. We're gonna walk through the tool that Max built for us. And yeah, it should be a fun one. So Max, you see my screen all right?
Yeah.
Okay, so for the first sheet we see here, it's all about directions. So make sure that for anyone that wants this, you follow the instructions kind of line by line to make sure that you're doing it correctly. But Max, can you kind of walk through briefly the process for each step, and then we'll show them an actual example?
Yeah. So first off, just making a copy of the sheet, and then from your Google Ads account, all this is based off of like a 30-day date range. So you're going to want to, make sure that your time window in Google Ads reflects that. And it's a good way to make sure that you're getting, some recent data in there as well. And then you're going to want to arrange your columns to match the columns on the data input, just so all the formulas and everything cooperate and work out.
Okay, so these are those metrics, right? Cost, clicks, average CPC, conversions, cost per conversion. Got it. Okay, so in Google Ads, for anyone that knows to customize columns in your campaign view, make sure you're just looking at those metrics.
Yeah, those are the money makers right there that we're going to need to make this sheet work.
Cool. Next step.
After that, you're going to download the results into an Excel, CSV, or however you want to download it. You still will need to rearrange your columns a little bit. Google likes to throw in some extra columns every time you download. Make sure that they're in the exact order that are stated up above after the download.
Okay.
And then something to note too is, some campaigns could be missing out on more than 90%. And if that's the case, Google will not give you that number. It's just going to have a greater than 90% metric. The calculations will not work with that. So what I do is just, if that is happening, I just replace it with 91%. And again, these are estimates and aren't, supposed to be used as like exact truth, but.
Right. Yeah. And I think we just mentioned impression share, and you'll see some notions of IS. Can you explain what impression share or IS stands for?
Yeah, great question. So impression share is essentially your market of the entire search market. So for your campaign, how much of the addressable search market are you hitting? How many your auction market share, I should say.
Yeah, with the targeting you have, what percent of market share you're taking up for that search of when you're eligible to show.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. Cool. What's next?
Cool. So then you're going to take that data after it's all nice and formatted, and you're going to paste it into the spreadsheet in the green area.
Okay, this is an example, and we'll review it in a second, but this is what we mean with the green area.
Yeah, so that whole section used to be green, but of course, when you copy and paste, it's going to overwrite the green. But yeah, you just want to make sure to paste it in the green area. Anything in white will be calculations.
Got it. Okay. Cool. And then does it make sense to dive into it?
Yeah, I think now's a good time to dive into it.
Cool. Yeah. So all the inputs in the process are pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, please leave a comment, and hopefully we can get back to you. And then, we'll revisit this, but we'll go back into the actual inputs and outputs and now explain what we're seeing here. So with the directions, now we're going to go into, after you copy and pasted the data from here, what's next? So this is current spend within the last 30 days of those campaigns, right?
Right. So those are your current metrics. That's what you're already doing within the account. So, like you mentioned, a common question is, well, how much could I spend in this account? And to understand that, you have to look at search impression share loss due to budget, right? So that's the percentage of the auctions where, you can throw more money and keep increasing your daily budget, and you'll still be increasing that impression share number.
Okay.
Right. So if you want to scroll to the right,
Okay.
here is where those numbers come into play, right?
Okay.
So now we're looking at, this is assuming all stays the same, when you increase budget, that doesn't necessarily mean that your cost per clicks are going to be increasing, right? You're just increasing the amount you could spend per day.
Right.
So keeping that constant, keeping conversion rate constant, the only thing being changed is your impression share loss to budget, right? We can kind of calculate how much more you could spend and max out that impression share loss due to budget. And here's where those results will come in. So we can see that, it's about like a $1,700 jump just through adding more money to our campaigns and doing
Right.
this.
So you can compare column J to column B, and you can kind of compare all of the actually all of the metrics, right, side by side.
Yeah, exactly. And then this final section here is no impression share after you've maxed out on budget, right? So you want to make sure that you max out on budget first before even diving into rank.
Right.
Right. Because rank is, where you get into, a lot of factors come in, ad quality, landing page experience, all that good stuff. So with rank, if you're losing impression share to rank, you're going to have to pay a little bit more. Chances are your CPCs are going to go up to try and minimize that. So here is where, we calculate like that average CPC jump. So you can see on the no IS loss due to rank, the average CPCs are going to be higher per
14.
campaign than they would be, off the baseline, or if you're just trying to minimize loss due to budget.
Got it.
So because of that, right, all of our cost per metrics are going to go up. Cost per conversion is going to go up, average CPC is going to go up, and then overall cost is going to go up as well.
Got it.
Right. So that's when we're not only putting more money into the campaign, but we're also paying more per click, where we're seeing, somewhat diminishing returns there.
That makes sense. Yeah. And seeing a little bit of a, but you're able to see how much more conversions you're going to expect. Yeah, that makes sense. I think for people that are watching, it is important to consider, you can't just put more money and just see it scale up the same amount. Typically it's going to get more competitive. Your quality score gets incorporated into this. Your bidding models and bidding strategy within those campaigns get involved with trying to maximize impression share, loss to rank, or budget. So those things influence, cost per click overall and cost per conversion. So awesome. So this is comparing side by side with each kind of main impression share lost, being eliminated and like added to the total. What is this last sheet here?
So this last sheet here is kind of showing you the before and after, and showing you how much more you're paying to increase that impression share.
Got it.
Right? So we can see that's what we're currently at. And then that next column, are what those metrics would be if we maxed out budget.
Got it.
Loss due to budget, right? So from there we can figure out, okay, we can spend about $1,700 more dollars. We're going to get, a little more than 3 conversions. And then we can see that, cost per conversion, what cost per conversion is on that additional spend.
Makes sense. And then the second sheet here is trying to maximize completely. So you took the data from when you maximize budget,
right?
But then you're also scaling for rank when you're getting more competitive in that space. So
yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So we can see here, right, that, it doesn't scale at the same rate, right? The spend is going to go up much quicker than the actual conversion volume will.
Right.
And we can see overall, right, the 581, isn't too much higher than the 441 cost per conversion. But if you look at how much you're paying for each conversion, once you are digging into that impression share loss due to rank, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But that's not to say, it's like too high, right? As long as you have that, as long as you have an understanding of what your target cost per acquisition is,
Right.
maybe this hasn't hit the pain threshold yet, and maybe this would be an okay move to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think one of my favorite things of this sheet here is this last column where you can kind of see the difference, the incremental gains in conversions, incremental gains in clicks, and even the cost. Yeah, I think what you want to pay attention to if you are trying this out is where you're currently at, and then this is the max here when you're combining no impression share loss to budget and rank, and then if you were to see at the end here, it's like just a calculation based on what you had before and where you're at now. So yeah, super helpful. We also have a sheet here that we'll make available. If you'd like, you can leave a comment and I'll send it to you directly. But this is a blank sheet where you can test out and input your own conversion, your own data, and do your own math to figure out, what's the maximum amount of spend you can use within your paid search campaigns. So yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. That was super helpful. Max, that was awesome. Thanks for building this tool for us. Any tips for people using this tool and even taking those insights and making decisions on them? So any recommendations?
Yeah. So this isn't just a tool, right, to just see like what happens if I blow all my campaigns up with spend and increasing cost per clicks and all that. It can be used definitely to like prioritize, right? So if you have like a lot of different campaigns in your account, and you notice one is doing really well, right? You can figure out like what's the max I can get out of this campaign, and then what's my second best campaign. If you sort by cost per conversion, right, you essentially create like a waterfall of like the most efficient campaigns and maximizing spend in those areas first. And it can just give you, really good insight into how to prioritize campaigns and where to put your spend.
Yeah. And like you mentioned before, it's not like the 100% source of truth. I would say it is a directional indicator for you to understand how much more you could spend, how much more expected results you could see based on all the data that Google is giving you. Your results may vary based on so many different factors. The next day your competitor could be, bidding 2x, and then that changes the whole thing. But in that snapshot in time, you're going to be able to see, how much more you could be getting out of this. And yeah, so thanks so much, Max, for jumping on and back in the lab. Hope to have you back. And yeah, thanks to the viewers. Hopefully this helps you understand what you could be spending on paid search and get you more leads. So we'll see you next time, and thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.